All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to impart techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Secure Migration Paths for Cloud Computing, and this is the 15th session in the Cloud Computing series. Our guest speaker today is Ms. Triveni TK, Cloud Security Specialist, Trainer, SME, and a consultant. Triveni is a freelance cloud security specialist. She holds doctorate in management studies, an MTech, a BE, and is currently pursuing PhD on cloud security. She is also a visiting professor in Manipal University and is guiding 4 projects on cloud computing. She has published award-winning research papers on cloud and cloud security. With more than 12 years of experience in teaching, consulting, and cloud corporate training for reputed organizations, she offers well-known qualifications as a trainer, consultant, SME, and a cloud specialist or visionary and motivator of strategies that have exceeded expectations. She is an expert on cloud security with proven cross-functional qualifications that span management, technology, and engineering. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Triveni.
Thank you, Mohini. A very good afternoon and warm welcome to all of you here today for this webinar on secure migration paths for cloud computing. Myself, Triveni, I'm a cloud security specialist, trainer, and consultant. Without further ado, we will go ahead and discuss the whys and hows of cloud migration. As specified in our previous webinar on cloud security, we saw cloud comes with its own benefits and it has its own risks as well. Obviously, there are many benefits to cloud due to which companies are migrating or thinking to migrate. Cost savings, power savings, agility, to name a few. Cloud security is the only thing that is stopping companies, especially our industries in India are adopting a wait-and-watch approach. They want to see how others adopt and how others succeed in the cloud. So there are what are called as trade-offs between threat exposure and cost effectiveness of the cloud. Private clouds by their nature are inherently more secure. They have less threat exposure compared to community clouds, which are in turn having less threat exposure than public clouds. On the other hand, public clouds, due to the nature being shareable through mega-scale large public, they are more cost-effective than community clouds, which are in turn more cost-effective than private clouds. So, cloud customer might have to decide what he wants best. Does he want it to be cost-effective, or does he want his cloud to be more secure? Coming to cloud migration and cloud security architectures, clouds, as far as different services and different types of clouds are concerned, they all have a single security architecture. Our private cloud does not have any additional security settings unless otherwise specified explicitly by the client, by the customer. The very reason why private clouds are deemed to be more secure are only because they are not shared by others. But customers might have many different demands, many different requirements based on what they are looking for. So cloud should attempt to provide configurable security mechanisms based on what the customer wants. Organizations have more control over security architecture of private clouds because private cloud is owned by one organization. It is not shared. This control becomes less and less as we move to community and public cloud. But this doesn't mean to say that private cloud is fully secure. Private cloud is not security proof. It is not 100% safe. Any type of cloud can be equally attacked based on where its loopholes are. So organizations who have sensitive data might want to use private cloud so that they could have control over the security model of the cloud. So sensitive data is most likely to be stored in private cloud where no one else is sharing the data with you. No one else is sharing the cloud with you. So all types of clouds do require strong security controls, may it be private, public, or community. But all models of cloud may be used by the customers for different trade-offs between the threat or the cost. Based on what the customer wants, the client may choose different types of clouds. There is no one cloud. There is no one architecture. Different sizes fit different clients. So how does one choose wisely? There are many migration paths for cloud adoption, ranging from an individual to small size to enterprise groups. An individual or a small organization which has just started to look at the clouds, which has just started to use the clouds, might want to use public clouds since they do not have any sensitive or costly information to store. An enterprise size group which has already substantial information, proprietary information, may develop their own public clouds. They might actually migrate their data centers into a virtual environment and make it up as a private cloud and build their own private cloud. Or they may decide to procure an outsourced private cloud. A mid-sized organization might either build their community cloud or procure a community cloud. A community cloud will make sure that the sharing part of the cloud is more than a private cloud. A community of pharmaceutical companies, for instance, or a community of banking companies, for instance, might decide to use one type of cloud since their requirements for security, regulations, compliance, regulatory concerns are all same. So by using a cloud which is already being set for pharmaceutical companies, for banking, for insurances, this provides a common cause for them to share the cloud. They can actually leverage the lower cost and also leverage the increased security given to them. So mid-sized organizations might actually go to community clouds. Or companies might try to use hybrid cloud technology where private cloud part is used to store confidential information and public part is used to store unclassified information like mass mailers sent out to public. Now, these choices could create some effects wherein small enterprises end up using public SaaS and public clouds so that the growth of their data centers is minimized. The cost of the data centers is minimized. Large enterprises, they may evolve to act as private clouds since they have already invested in large data centers of their own. Large enterprises may actually start using more of public cloud infrastructure and try to blend their already existing private cloud with the new public cloud as a hybrid cloud so that they can leverage both internal security and public cloud cost. Now, public cloud, seeing this, public cloud vendors may try to adopt better standards so that customers of hybrid clouds or customers of private clouds might actually trust public cloud vendors and migrate from hybrid and private to public cloud. Public cloud vendors will definitely try to compete with hybrid and private vendors. Cloud computing and standards. Standards are required for any new technology to promote interoperability, and standards do promote portability. Cloud standards mission should be to provide guidance to government and industry to make sure that all parties are gaining maximum value from the cloud computing. NIST is a non-regulatory agency of United States Department of Commerce. NIST's official mission is to promote innovation and industrial competitiveness by advancing science, standards, and technology in ways that enhance economic security and improve quality of life. NIST promotes roadmaps for cloud computing. NIST wants to act as catalyst to help industry formulate their own standards. This gives opportunities for service, software, and hardware providers. It promotes all organizations to adopt cloud computing standards in a seamless way. The goal of NIST cloud standards is two-pronged. They want to create fungible clouds or interoperable clouds where services can be mutually substituted irrespective of the vendor. This enables data and customer application portability, common APIs, common programming models, federated security services would be enabled, and vendors will be able to compete on effective implementations. This will foster add-on values. This will enable vendors to add their innovations on core cloud services and compete on their innovations by using their advanced technologies. It is difficult to standardize the cloud for the very reasons being that PaaS and SaaS of different companies are proprietary by nature. So proprietary implementations cannot be standardized. To deal with this problem, NIST has come up with a standardization model where companies can add their proprietary implementation as advanced features over core features which needs to be standardized. Whether it is an infrastructure, platform, or software that is being given as a service, the core features will be standardized and they will be able to provide interoperability and portability. The vendor can add his own proprietary value by adding his own functionality or advanced features. This promotes innovation. This also promotes standardization, interoperability, and portability. The result, proposed result, is that the customers and vendors will be in a win-win situation. The customer will know what to choose, what is the correct fit for their organization by seeing what are the standard portable features and by seeing what are the proprietary non-portable features. So a NIST standard roadmap needs to define a minimal standards to enable secure integration, application portability. It also makes sure that over-specification is avoided so that companies or vendors of cloud will not be in a problem as to what to add. Their innovation should not be inhibited by over-specification. The specification should be as generic as possible. This separately addresses different cloud models. There are no one standard for all cloud types. Different standards are needed for different types of clouds. Towards this creation of roadmap, we have to start with infrastructure as a service as a natural focus point. PaaS and SaaS are difficult to standardize due to their proprietary nature. Platform and software are something that could be looked on in the future once the infrastructure part has been made standardized. So we could actually start on with virtual machines. That is the best focal point for interoperability. Since as we move up the stack of services, the vendor lock-in is more in SaaS and PaaS compared to infrastructure. So infrastructure is a good way to start how cloud services can be standardized. Starting with infrastructure, we can move up to standardizing the platform and then standardizing the software. So first major deliverable would be to focus on the IaaS standard roadmap. We could later research the PaaS and SaaS as we move on. This will provide visibility. This will encourage collaboration as soon as possible. The urgency of this cannot be further emphasized. This enables to identify the common needs for security and data privacy across all the services. I would further like to emphasize this point by this diagram which shows what is called apocalypse of two elephants. This talks about the standards of any new technology. The time at which a standard is established is absolutely critical to its success. David Clark of MIT has a theory of standards that he calls the apocalypse of two elephants. This is illustrated here. It shows the amount of activity surrounding the new subject like cloud computing. When the subject is first discovered, there is a burst of research activity in the form of discussions, conferences, papers, meetings, so on and so forth. After a while, research activity subsides, corporations and industries discover the subject, and billion-dollar investment hits as it is happening now. But it is essential that these standards should be written in the trough between the two elephants, between the research and billion-dollar investment. If the standards are written too early, before the research is finished, the subject will be poorly understood. The result will be bad standards. If they are written too late, many companies may already have made a lot of investment in different ways of doing things. In this way, the standards will be fully ignored. And on the other hand, if the interval between the two elephants, between research and investment, is too less, the people who are developing the standards might get crushed. So it is essential that standards be developed ASAP. This is the right time to develop the standards and get on with implementing them. As a roadmap for IaaS, the needed standards could start with virtual machines. The virtual machine image distribution. For example, DMTF is the industry organization. It is leading in the development, adoption, and unification of management standards. It is Distributed Management Task Force, which is having what is called as OVF, Open Virtualization Format. This is a packaging standard which was designed to address the portability and deployment of virtual appliances. OVF enables simplified and error-free deployment of virtual appliances across multiple virtualization platforms. It is a common packaging format for independent software vendors to package and securely distribute virtual appliances. This enables cross-platform portability. By packaging virtual appliances in OVF, the vendors can create a single pre-packaged appliance that can run on customers' virtualization platform of their choice. The provisioning and control can be done with an API like Amazon Cloud Compute API, which is a very good API. Inter-Cloud VM Exchange is also needed. There is no standard for that as of now. Persistent storage like Azure Storage of Microsoft, Simple Storage Service, and Elastic Block Storage of Amazon would be a good standard. The SLAs also need to make sure that they are standardized. The uptime, resource guarantees, redundancies, all other SLAs need to be machine readable and standardized in format. The VM configuration needs to be secure. SCAP or Security Content Automation Protocol is also an initiative of NIST. This is actually a synthesis of specifications derived from community ideas. They derive their strength because of the security automation community, which ensures that many range of use cases is reflected in their functionality. After the IaaS roadmap, we come to PaaS and SaaS once IaaS is done. But this is more difficult because of the proprietary nature of the platforms and softwares given as a service. It could be a future focus of the NIST. For example, the standard for PaaS could specify what all programming languages, what all APIs are supported. SaaS could specify the authentication, authorization part, formats for data. Each type of SaaS, each type of applications may need separate standards. For example, Office Suites may need separate standards. Gaming software may need separate standards, so on and so forth. Next, coming to the security across all the services, there are many existing standards. There is no one standard which verifies all kinds of services. Identity and access management, for example, has what is called as SAML, Security Assertion Markup Language. It is an XML-based open standard data format to exchange authentication and authorization data between identity provider and a service provider. It is used for single sign-on, web-based single sign-on. They are used easily at intranet level. They were used single sign-on before being web-based. They were being used in intranet level, but they were later extended to internet also by becoming interoperable. The SAML specification has three roles: the principal or the user, the identity provider, and the service provider. The user has to request a service from service provider. Then the service provider will obtain identity assertion from the identity provider. Once the assertion happens, once the identity provider says the user is legitimate, based on it, the service provider can make access control decision. Access control decision will help the service provider to know what service to give and what level of service to give to the user or the principal. Then we have strong authentication standards called as OCRA and TOTP. They are time-based one-time password algorithms. They are very good authentication standards. This is the initiative for open authentication. It is a security vendor-based collaboration. They want to develop a standardized, strong authentication infrastructure using open standards. It has announced this time-based OTP, time-based one-time password, and challenge response. OCRA is called Challenge Response Specification in collaboration with IETF, Engineering Task Force. So these standards use a challenge response or one-time, time-based passwords, which are very good. Untitled management or XACML, that is Extensible Access Control Markup Language, is a standard that actually defines an access control in XML. It guides in evaluating authorization requests according to rules defined in these policies. It promotes common terminology and interoperability. Then we need data encryption in two ways: data which is at rest, data which is being communicated. For these, we need good key management policies, public key infrastructure, and PKCS. PKCS is a group of public key cryptography standards published by RSA Security. They started this in early 90s. They want to promote use of cryptography techniques like RSA, Diffie-Hellman, all good algorithms they want to promote. And we have what is called as CRE-PRO, provisioning of symmetric keys in a dynamic way. Dynamic Security Key Provisioning Protocol, DSKPP, is a very good way to use one-time password dynamically. Then we have e-discovery or Electronic Discovery Reference Model, EDRM. This is discovery in civil litigation. This deals with exchange of information in electronic format. This data will be identified as potentially relevant in court cases by authorities. They will be usually placed on legal hold. This evidence will be extracted and analyzed using forensic procedures. Usually, information in digital form is different from information in paper form because it is intangible. The volume, persistence is difficult. So electronic information is usually accompanied by metadata. This metadata is not found in paper documents. So this metadata plays an important role as evidence in digital documents. For example, what date the document was created, what time it was written. This is useful in copyright case. So preservation of metadata from these electronic documents creates special challenges to prevent spoliation. Coming to statistics on cloud economics, people who are migrated to cloud or who are planning to migrate to cloud might want to know what is there for them once they go to the cloud. Obviously, there's a lot of money in it. As far as cost of traditional data centers is concerned, they have proved to be very, very expensive, not only in terms of their actual cost, their running cost, their power consumption, their space consumption, all have costed a lot over the years for all the companies who have invested in data centers. So 11 million servers approximately exist in a normal data center, but only 15% are servers are used. So $800 billion are spent yearly on purchasing and maintaining such enterprise software. This cost could actually be reduced to 10% by moving to the cloud. After buying this infrastructure, 80% of the expenditure is spent only on maintenance. If an organization migrates to cloud, this 80% of expenditure could actually be spent on innovating new things. The data center consumes 100 times more space than an office building. So by moving the data center somewhere else to the vendor space, the real estate, the office space, the footprint might actually get reduced. Employees can consume that space. And also, power consumption has quadrupled for each server because they are high computing servers. They require a lot of cooling. They get heated fast. So their power consumption for HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning is huge. So this power consumption also will be reduced once a company migrates to the cloud. It need not maintain any server. It need not maintain the power consumption of any server. The number of servers that any normal organization has used has doubled from 2001 to 2006. So over the span of 5 years, a company can to double the use of its servers. Considering this, if that company migrates to cloud, the amount of cost that it would save by not having those servers in-house would be 90%. So by making a decision to move to the cloud has already saved you 90% of your running cost. Energy conservation, standard 9,000 square foot cost 21 million to build with 1 million in electricity cost per year. The real estate is very, very costly in major cities across the world, and data center consume 1.5% of any country's electricity. They not only consume space, they also consume a lot of power. So by using green technologies like cloud computing, energy costs could already be reduced by 50%. IT produces 2% of carbon dioxide emissions. So by migrating to cloud, you will be going through green computing. Let us look at some case studies where companies have gone to cloud and made it a huge success. City of Washington, D.C., the CTO, Vivek Kund, migrated his 38,000 employees to Google Apps. Previous to this, he was using a proprietary software to hold the employee data. He replaced this Office software with Google Docs, Google Video, and Gmail. This has made a fundamental change to the way his government had operated. It had saved him a lot of millions of dollars. Now he is part of Force.com. 5 lakh plus organizations are using Google Apps. Even GE has moved its desktop from Microsoft Office to Google Apps for saving costs. It later moved to Zoho for improving its security and also keeping the cost low. Facebook uses open source and commodity hardware. Facebook president in year 2008 said that all his users and transactions are built on open source software, and thousands of instances are used in distributed fashion. They use commodity hardware to run their organization, and they are very happy with it. Amazon is a leader in public cloud domain. They are number 1 in cloud computing vendors right now. New York Times and Nasdaq have used Amazon Cloud. New York Times digitized all its articles, and it was a very fast and quick conversion. within 24 hours. Nasdaq delivered its stock and fund information through Amazon, and the expense was very, very less compared to the traditional way of doing it. Salesforce.com is another leader in CRM. It was the first success story as far as computing is concerned. It is one of the trailblazers in cloud computing domain. They have many customers. President Obama used Salesforce.com for citizens' briefing book based on their ideas. He converted it into a win presidency. U.S. Census Bureau uses Salesforce.com for decade census, and it does it in a very cost-effective and fast way. New Jersey Transit, which is Transportation Department of New Jersey, they use Salesforce, and they were able to handle 600% more inquiries without hiring any new agents, and their response time is 36. This is what a cloud can do for efficiency of an organization. Saves cost and improves efficiency. U.S. Army uses Salesforce for recruiting. The potential recruits who visited the Army Center, they were tracked for employment. This saved Army a lot of time and resources, since Salesforce did all the recruitment. Now, after the case studies, we would like to know how to evaluate the cloud. If you are given a choice today of buying 100 or would you go the traditional way? Is it a wiser investment than the in-house deployment? We have to consider many factors before deciding this. What are the cost factors, performance management, security factors, and most importantly, the satisfaction factor. How does the cloud solution fit your organization? The fit is more important than any other factor. Can the cloud be actually defended? The very need to go to the cloud for actually seem wise. And who are the stakeholders if anything goes wrong? There are many changes that need to be done once a company migrates to cloud. Cloud computing needs high bandwidth internet connections because everything happens online, everything happens through internet. So without high bandwidth, cloud computing would not work well. But internal infrastructure may be simplified because everything is done by the vendor. Everything is taken care by the vendor. There is less complexity in switching, routing, network connection, so on and so forth. The maintenance problem, the backups, everything will be less. All the headaches will be gone. But without a good bandwidth, without good infrastructure, cloud will not work. In developed countries, this is not an issue. They have a very good infrastructure in place. But in developing country like our India, infrastructure has been a concern always. We do not have very good infrastructure, very good bandwidth, very good internet connection. So this is always a concern for companies in India. That is why they are still adopting a wait and watch approach. Reduced capital expense, yes, cloud gives us reduced inventory, reduced taxes if we adopt cloud computing in some jurisdictions abroad because it is towards green computing. The cost of money over time is also reduced in the cloud. Recurring costs, operational costs are also less, and capital costs are almost nil in cloud. Vendor access and support. Before moving to the cloud, there are some very important questions which we need to check off before deciding whether we should jump into the cloud or not. Will the provider support my needs in case they change? And is the vendor easy to work with? What if he is not flexible tomorrow? Is the vendor's remote monitoring and management strategy good enough? Are they doing a good SLA work? Can the vendor provide references for his past success? Is there any success story of the vendor? Is it easy to access and update data over the cloud? And the vendor's data flow process, can we use it? All these questions need to be asked. How the vendor is more important than how much we save in the cloud. Time to value. Now, if I go to cloud today, when will I start getting the returns? How long will it take for the cloud implementation for getting me immediate profit? If you have to make a decision today to buy 10 servers online, you have to decide what will it do if I do it in-house? What will happen if I take them in the cloud? So the best way is to try it before you buy it. Do not commit until you are sure it fits your organization. The fit part is more important than anything else. Especially if you are using a new software, new package, new service, something you have not seen before, you have to first try it and then only buy it. Because once you decide to go into cloud, especially for SaaS and PaaS, there is no looking back, there is no coming back. Service, what do you get for the money? This is a very important list of questions which need to be asked and checked out. What services are provided by the company? Installation, conversion, management, what are all the services provided? Are the SLA terms reasonable? Are they good enough? Do they provide all the security guarantees? And what are the penalties if the SLAs do not work, if the SLAs are not kept? What type of support is provided? Is there a plan B in case the cloud doesn't work? Are you prepared with some other plan? And do you fully understand what the cloud is offering and what the cloud is not offering? That is more important to know. Once you are clear with all these answers, only then you need to decide whether to go to the cloud or not. And last but not the least, to make sure that your migration is secure, you have to make sure that all in-house requirements till now, what was there for your organization, they must be present in the cloud as well. If they are not present, you must explicitly state to the client that you need the security requirements. If there are extra regulatory, statutory and compliances which are required, you have to state them in the SLA as well. And what are the industry accepted best practices for your particular domain? You have to make sure they are implemented. Your privacy must be safeguarded. Data leakages must be eliminated at all costs. Once these are made sure, migration to the cloud will be seamless, easy, and cost effective. I hope this is an informative session together here today for this webinar. I thank you all for taking part in the webinar. You could contact me at this email and mobile number. I'm a security and cloud trainer consultant. If you need any trainings and consulting on security and cloud, please mail me or message me. I thank you all. We could look at the questions now. Back to you, Mohini.
So much for the session, Triveni. I've started assigning you some questions. I hope you're able to see them.
Yes, we could.
Okay, so we can start with the questions now.
I'll just see if there are any questions for me here. The first question is from Sumit. He asked, cloud reduces cost and improves efficiency. Cost, I understand. How efficiency? Good question. The very reason why cloud is being used, apart from its cost, is efficiency. It is very agile in nature. To provision cloud services takes hours or rather minutes. You want to create an Amazon cloud, you can go ahead and create within 20 minutes. You can create micro instances, small instances, large instances, very large instances. In fact, the amount of computing and storage that Amazon Cloud provides you, this would have not been possible 2-3 years ago. The amount of computing and efficiency that it gives you within no time. So basically, the agility is what I meant by efficiency. The way how we do the work and in what amount of time we are able to do our work is better and more cost effective in the cloud. I hope this answered your question. One more question. Are clouds secure enough to handle finance specific data? Yes, definitely. If finance organizations or any organization which wants to handle its finance data, it can use private cloud. Private cloud will not be shared by other customers, and hence it would keep the data secure. Or if you want to go to public cloud and still make sure your data is safe, you could go ahead and implement other security controls. There are many layers of security that you could add to your basic cloud to make sure no one else is able to damage or leak your data. Another question. I'm very new to cloud computing. Are there any free clouds available for developers to play with? Yes, definitely. I was just talking about Amazon Cloud. They have what is called as a 1-year trial period, wherein you could actually use their cloud computing resources for free. You can create what are called as micro instances, using which you could play. You could actually try out how cloud works, how the elastic cloud compute works, how the simple storage service works, so on and so forth. There are also free private clouds available. There are many open source clouds available. Eucalyptus, Open Nebula. There are many free clouds available. You can create your own cloud and you could deploy your own blog, deploy your own picture, videos, so on and so forth. Tushar asked, how about the performance of applications hosting on private cloud? Performance would not be affected if your infrastructure is good. As far as real-time applications are concerned, public cloud might not be a good fit. But for small applications, public cloud works well. Srinivas asked, what are the drawbacks in cloud computing? This we have seen in our previous webinars. Cloud computing comes with its own advantages and disadvantages. The main drawback, as we have discussed here and then, is security. Apart from security, obviously, without a good bandwidth, without high bandwidth infrastructure, cloud computing will not work well. Your bandwidth should be very, very good. Without hypervisor, cloud computing will not work. If your machines are not virtualized, you can actually not use cloud computing. So hypervisor is compulsory. A good bandwidth is compulsory. Without that, cloud computing will not work. Question by Arindam Majumdar. We cannot build environment in public cloud. I don't understand that word. Cluster, I guess. Cluster environment in public cloud. In that case, how we will design heavy applications and database over IaaS? It is possible actually. We can design heavy applications and database over IaaS. This question is not clear, so we'll take it offline. I guess once I come to know the question properly, I'll be able to answer it. One more question by Nimesh. Can you give some examples of cloud computing which are being implemented by Indian companies? Yes, many Indian companies have already started going to the cloud. They have started researching into cloud. They have started using cloud services, even though not in a very huge way, but yes, they have started. There are many examples of banks and insurance agencies wanting to go into the cloud. For example, HP has its own infrastructure, which it's deciding to move to the cloud and give it to its customers in a virtualized way. They want to develop their own infrastructure on the cloud and deploy it to the customer. But yes, HP in India wants to do it. HP is a multinational company. VMware is also a multinational company. Our own Wipro and Infosys are very enthusiastic about cloud. They are researching and they are already trying to give many of their software solutions on the cloud already. Please suggest any technical read or resources for hands-on implementation of usage. Yes, the best textbook would be Cloud Computing, a Practical Approach. I will mail you all the name and author of the textbook. So that would be the first place to start with. There are many resources. There are many portals which actually give a very good introduction to cloud computing. I myself am planning a series of webinars, a series of e-learning courses through TechGeek. So you could attend them as well, wherein you will be learning from the introduction part to architect level of cloud computing. I invite you to join the course and expand your knowledge on cloud computing. There is one more cloud. Are cloud secure enough to handle finance specific data? I have already answered this. A question by Umesh again. How reliable and easy it is in case I need to move with another cloud service provider from existing service provider? That is what this session was all about: migration, interoperability, standards. Standards for cloud have not yet been standardized. Standards themselves are shaky. We're actually on a shaky ground right now. A lot of research, lot of noise on cloud is actually happening. On the other side, industries have started investing on it. This is the right time actually to have a standard cloud services wherein if you buy a service from one provider, you should be able to migrate easily to another provider. It is not easy right now, especially if you buy a SaaS or PaaS service, it is not easy. One more question. How is program management done for cloud computing programs? The project management or program management? It is same for all the technologies which were there before cloud computing. The project management or program management is the same for cloud computing. Only thing is, cloud has changed the way business strategy is being implemented. Instead of buying any product, you are renting a service. So it's only based on service-oriented architecture. Nothing has changed. If I move to cloud, then I would get access to only those software which are available at the cloud. But what if my requirement is going to be served by only a particular proprietary software? This question is by Vivek. I don't actually understand what is this question is trying to ask. He is telling he requires only a particular proprietary software. Then why would I want to go to the cloud? Okay. If you are going to access this proprietary software through the cloud, there are many benefits. If the software is hosted through the cloud, then there will be only one copy. That copy will be with the vendor. If updates or patches for that particular software needs to be done, he need not come to the customer's place and update it. That way, he will be saving a lot of labor cost, lot of time, lot of downtime will be saved. So he need not go to each and every customer. A vendor need not go to each and every customer to fix the patches, to fix the updates. He needs to only change in one place, that is his place. So by actually accessing any particular software, let it be a proprietary software or let it be a generic software, if you access it through the cloud, the main benefit is that the updates are very, very fast. Each and every customer need not be updating it by himself. The vendor will update it in one place. The customer will be getting it seamlessly. I hope this answered your question. That is the reason why even a proprietary software, if it is given through cloud, is very beneficial. Question by Sumit Sharma. Does cloud computing follow ISO 27000 standards? Yes, cloud computing has many standards, as we discussed in our previous webinar. Actually, there is no one standard for the cloud. For example, if you follow ISO standards, ISO 27001 standard, that means that your cloud computing service is secure enough and banks and financial industries will be able to use it. If you have HIPAA accreditation, then pharmacists will be able to, pharmaceutical companies will be able to use your cloud. If you have PCI DSS standards, payment card industries will be able to use your cloud. Yes, cloud computing as such is not forced to follow any standards, but if you are accredited, if you have that certification and compliance, then that particular industry which needs that particular standard will be using your cloud. For example, Microsoft does not have HIPAA accreditation. If that is the case, then Microsoft Cloud cannot be used by pharmaceutical companies. I hope this answers your question. Can you explain multi-tenancy cloud? Satish asked this. Cloud is inherently multi-tenant in nature. The 5 important features of the cloud, the actual definition of the cloud means that many tenants together are using they are sharing the resources through the cloud. Since many customers are together sharing or renting the cloud, they are called as tenants. So this multi-tenancy has 2 phases. On one side, the cost is reduced because of multi-tenancy. You are sharing the cost with many other tenants. But on the other side, security concern has increased for the same reason that you are sharing the resources with other tenants. We never know who is sharing the data with us, who is sharing the server and storage with us, who is able to look into our data, where it is shared. So basically, there is 2 sides of the same coin. I hope this answers your question. Why we always relate REST with cloud? Question by Rananjoy Dasgupta. REST is not always related to cloud. SOAP and REST are web services. Web services are the giants on which cloud computing stands. Cloud computing stands on the giants, shoulders of giants like virtualization, web services, Web 2, so on and so forth. So SOAP was the older kind of web services which was provided. REST is the new web services. Through web services only we are able to give cloud computing services. So we relate RESTful web services to the cloud, because that is how cloud computing services are being given. One more question by Rananjoy again. Too many choices. I ask, where are the parameters to decide? Worldwide, what is expected level for demand for cloud specialists in coming years? There is a lot of demand for cloud specialists. As per industry analysts, there will be a shortage of people who are specialized in cloud, and we actually need to be a jack of all trades and master of any one. So a person who is only specialized in virtualization, only specialized in administration of one software might not be able to get a job in coming years. A person who knows all kinds of topics but maybe not in depth, that person will actually be in demand. So for your question, what is expected level of demand for cloud specialists? There will be a great demand. Recently, last year, cloud computing has been replaced by what is called as big data. So big data and cloud are making huge noise right now. Data scientists and cloud specialists. cloud architects, cloud security architects are in huge demand. They will be in demand in next coming years also. So person who knows about many kinds of topics will be in huge demand rather than a person who knows one particular topic in depth. I hope that answers your question. One more question by Arindam. What is the best security as a service offer at the moment in cloud? Many companies are coming out with security as a service because they have identified this as one of the most important blank with which they can fill. Cloud computing has created many blanks. So companies are out to take this opportunity. This is actually an opportunity for many companies to bring out their security services and create an add-on to the normal cloud services provider. There are many companies, so there is no one company which I could mention as best. I am vendor neutral actually. So the best security as a service, if you are asking for a free service, Panda Security is doing a very good work in this domain. So you could look at Panda Cloud Security. They are doing very good work. One more question by Arindam. What is Cloud Security Architect certification available? Cloud Security Architect, many certifications are available. IBM is having what is called as V1 and V2 level, but that is basics only. Cloud School or Architura, they have Cloud Security Architect certifications available. Or if you want general CCSK or Cloud Security certification, CSA or Cloud Security Alliance, which is a non-profit body which is furthering the cause of cloud security, they themselves have a certification with them called CCSK. So once you get that certification, that might itself be a good proof that you are a good security architect. But as of now, there is no one certification which will give you a value like Cisco certifications or MCSE certifications. We still have to wait and see if a good security architect certifications will come out from Amazon or IBM or Microsoft or any a good company. Right now, there is no one certification which is actually good security architect certification. But yes, you can look at Cloud School and Cloud Security Alliance.
Well, thank you so much, Triveni. Those were the only questions we had for the day.
Thank you, Mohini.
I'm really thankful to you for conducting this webinar. It was a great session. I'm sure our participants liked it a lot. I would also like to thank all our participants for the support in making this webinar a success. I would like to inform you all that the recording of this webinar would be available on techgeek.com by today evening. Thank you all. Have a great day.